Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are discussing a 1996 movie by the Coen brothers. What can we say about this movie? A lot can happen in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
We are discussing Fargo. So, without further ado, I'll go over to Susan and ask her about her opening thoughts on this movie. Susan,
Oh
Fargo.
yeah, you betcha. This is about, you know how we did all those movies about the northern part of the United Kingdom? Yeah, you betcha. This is about the northern part of Minnesota and especially the northern part of the, Iowa, Minnesota area. Anyway, it's a story about this fellow here, Lundegaard here. Yeah, Lundegaard is a crook, and he's been stealing from his father-in-law, and now he's got this plan. He's hatched a plan, and he's put some stuff in his bag, and he's taking a car across all the way over to Fargo to drop it off for a couple of fellas. One's a little funny looking, and he's really got a sort of a bad situation because he found these fellas through his friend Shep, who is going to have to deal with all the ramifications of it, and it's there's so much to say about it. And then there's this police officer here, and she's the chief of police of Brainerd, and she has to come and sort this out, and it's really rough. She's 7 months pregnant, and she's got a lot going on, and she gets that morning sickness. Yeah, even though her husband wakes up and cooks her eggs and stuff. That was a thoughtful thing. See, part of this is about Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice is not nice. Minnesota nice is, you know, you're saying the subtext is, fuck off, but the thing that you're saying on the surface is, oh yeah, that's not too shabby or whatever, and so I grew up in Minnesota when I was a kid, and so I can go back to this accent pretty easy. Sometimes it's like my mom. I sound like my mom right now a bit. And
Oh yeah, you betcha.
oh yeah, you betcha. It's a tough accent
Oh
to
yeah,
shake.
you betcha.
It's an interesting thing anyway.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's a comedy of sorts, but it's a comedy of errors, and it's got a lot of death in it. Lundegaard's father-in-law dies, his wife dies, his these two fellas die, and a bunch of other people die along the way that get into trouble with these two. Anyway, it's a it's all about the money. It's like he needs about 80,000 to cover the GMAC financing that he's been stealing from for his cars, and then he needs about 80,000 for these fellas who he hires to kidnap his wife, and when he does that, his plan goes royally awry. It's really far out. So this is the northern accent, like we were saying last week about the northern accent for those movies. This one's a really good one to show off my roots accent. So anyway, you bet. So back over to you, Lee.
Right. I don't know what to make of that. Apart from Susan sounding like Scooter from the Muppets.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What should we say about this movie? It just proves embezzlement doesn't pay. Yeah, his easy little plan of making the money and through the fake kidnapping of his wife just goes from bad to worse. And then you get the double crossing of the two guys demanding more money, and then you get the intervention from his father-in-law, which just causes more and more trouble. Yeah, it's this is known as a black comedy.
Super.
Yeah, it's a black comedy. There's not much laugh out loud comedy in
Oh,
this,
no, not at all.
but it's cringeworthy. You know, it gets you gripped and engrossed in the movie because you think how more worse can this thing get, and it does. Well, you know, with as Susan said, deaths. There's several deaths on the way. Highway patrol cop, two passers-by. You know, the father-in-law, his wife. You know, you name it, they all get it. But it's the performances in this, subtle performances, and what sort of, how would I just say, subtle, but they also they eat the screen as well. They're so that the performances are that powerful, but they're so subtly done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
And the ones that happen on the road, oh my gosh, oh lordy, that's not. It has been described as the dark side of Lake Wobegon days, and someday, we could do Guy Noir as an audio adventure because that's part of this whole Lake Wobegon days type deal. Yeah, just
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I've seen how long she can keep this up.
I can do this forever. This is the way. This is the way we are here.
I mean, the cast in this. So you've got William H Macy, brilliant actor. There you are. Steve. Now I always say Steve Buscemi. Is it Buscemi? Buscemi?
Buscemi.
Buscemi. You've got Harv Presnell, Peter Stormare, which I think is just, he doesn't actually say much in this apart from wanting pancakes.
Yep.
But it's his screen presence. In most of his movies, it's his screen presence. And this one, he just lights up the screen as the big goon. And then you've got, as you say, Francis McDormand as the pregnant sheriff, which I think did she win the Oscar for this?
He did. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Won the Oscar.
And her portrayal as the sheriff is so sweet, and as I say, it's just.
And apparently she fell in love with Ethan Cohen.
Did she?
And they got married.
Oh.
And so yeah, she's between the first movie that they did, this Blood Simple, and this one, yeah, they got married even. My gosh, it was like a really good romance between the two, because they're both a little quirky,
Oh dear. Anyway, so it is a fun movie. It's dark. As I say, all about embezzlement and double crossing. So we will head back to Susan, and we'll ask her for her favorite moments.
All right. Well, first of all, I gotta say that the thing that I thought was really timely about this is that Alex and I were just, we were just sitting here watching this documentary about William H. Macy's wife, and she paid a guy, just a guy, and she paid him $500,000 to get her two daughters, or $1 million to get her two daughters into University of Southern California. And so, she got in trouble. And here I was like thinking that William H. Macy was in on the deal, but he wasn't, because he was able to keep out, because he got experience doing the being the bad guy in all of these things. He's in this American version of Shameless, and anyway, so he's got the experience to keep the law at bay. Except for at the very end of Fargo, one of my favorite parts is they're in Bismarck, North Dakota, which is even further west than Fargo. Oh my gosh, that's another whole state away. And anyway, they talk about the same in North Dakota as they do in Minnesota. Yeah. So North Dakota, anyway, he's climbing out the window and the police are breaking into the hotel room. And so that's when, because they recognize the car. I mean, if you would have been smart and gotten rid of the car, that would have been the thing. Another one of my favorite moments, which is just obtuse, I tell you. It's the bit where Carl Showalter, Steve Buscemi, is he's burying a bunch of money in the snow, and he puts a little teeny tiny car scraper on it. I mean, like, he's a complete doof. I like the bits with the car scrapers. Let's see, the other one that I like, it's the moments after what's his name, Harvey Presnell, Wade Gustafson tells basically steals the idea for a parking lot or a parking situation in Rosetta out from under Lundegaard, poor Lundegaard. And he's basically going, he basically took his son-in-law's whole idea and offered his son a little commission, but his son needed the whole lump sum to pay for this settlement that he was doing. Anyway, if that would have gone well, then who knows, it would have all fit together better. But anyway, yeah, the Lundegaards and the Gustafsons, those are pretty standard names for that Minnesota area. It's a bit like Norway and Sweden in that respect. It's got a lot of those ethnicities in there. And so, yeah, there's that. And then there was, another funny bit. Well, the part that was funny about that was when he comes out and apparently they had like an ice storm while he was in there, because his windshield had thick ice on it, like he couldn't scrape it off. And then he got mad and he shook his hands and he bounced the scraper off the car and it went flying in the other direction or something like that. He was just furious and he's trying to, and it just goes. And so and that's the frustration of most Minnesotans. There is a thing in this thing about being a Lutheran, and apparently William H. Macy's got this figured out. It's like all about being humble. And, the humiliating factors that go into making a person humble are really evident here. Like there's the guy there's another humiliating moment, which is when, what's his name? Mike Yanagita calls the sheriff and wants to go to coffee or wants to have a dinner and actually wants to hook up with her.
Yeah.
And so he's played by this guy named Steve Park. And I'm wondering if he's related to the other Park who I know, who's amazing, who's another Asian American actress. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't do the research. I gotta tell you. And anyway, he tries to date the sheriff, and it's Marge Gunderson. And there's another great name, the Gunderson. Like Marge was and Norm were both cops at one point, but Norm wasn't working his way up in the ranks fast enough, so he stepped away to do his art. He does art paintings of loons and wild ducks and things like that. He's a really good artist, and he gets his artwork on the 3-cent stamp. So that's not too shabby. That's pretty darn good, actually. So that's a real not too shabby. But then there's all this other stuff that's Minnesota nice, like the hookers that are talking about, the two fellas that they were sleeping with, and one's a little funny looking, and the other one, he's just a tall fella, and he didn't say much. Peter Stormare, and he played Garrett Grimsrud. So all these names, they're all from the north central United States. Anyway, it's a dark comedy, and I really enjoy the humiliating points. Most of all, like the sheriff. There, I do like when his wife is all, bagged and stuff and running around in the snow with bare feet. That was, if you're running around in the snow, and the snow is cold, it's got to be cold. So she's just heading down, and she's thinking, I can get to the lake. She's thinking that if I get to the lake, I can get away. But anyway, it's an amazing piece of movie. And so I'm gonna throw it back over to the guy from the north of the UK. Actually, he's from. He doesn't sound like me though.
No, I don't. Oh dear, mate. I think I've entered the Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. There's a little of that in there too. Yeah, you bet.
Oh dear. Yeah. I'm trying to pick. I mean, you mentioned the scene where he's burying the case full of money. Never, and that money's never to be found again. It's just laid under the snow.
They'll find it in the springtime, Lee. It'll melt in the after all the snow, and then there will be a little ice scraper and a little suitcase, and some guy out in the field, plowing his field is suddenly a millionaire. Yeah.
In that case, then Fargo too. The adventures of the suitcase. Yeah, right. So, favorite moments for me. The scene between the father-in-law Wade and Steve Buscemi's character in the parking lot. Who are you? Who are you? Who the hell? Where's so and so? Give me the money. And then bloody hell, and then Wade shoots him in the shoots him in the mouth. And so of course he kills him. That is so well done, so well done, and he's double crossing his crooked partner, Pete Stormare. It's just the way they're all them two are double crossing and the double crossing William H Macy. I just love that sort of play in a movie. You know, someone's double crossing someone else, they're double crossing them. Nobody knows what each other's doing, but you know for a fact it's not going to end well, which is so really good. Never does, never does. It's, yeah,
the only thing that ends well is that conversation between the cop and the other guy. And the other guy tells him about the strange people that came into his establishment.
Yeah.
And looking for girls and stuff. And then one turns, they turn and walk away from each other. They look up at the sky, which is the way you do it in Minnesota, unless you want to talk and talk and talk and have a million goodbyes, is you turn and look at the sky and say something about the weather, and then you walk away from each other.
Oh.
You don't say goodbye, but if you end up face to face, oh lordy, you're gonna be talking for a really long time. I mean, it's just
you betcha.
Oh yeah, Minnesota goodbye is a forever thing.
Also, the little scene where he tries to bribe the highway patrol cop. Why would you do that? Why? You know, it's not going to end well.
He just wanted to take care of it in Brainerd.
Yeah. And for me, I think one of the most funny and sort of not grotesque, but out there moments in the movie is the wood shredder.
The wood
wood chipper.
Yeah, you call it a wood chipper because it chips the wood. Yeah.
Wood chip with the legs sticking out of it.
Yeah, and his little white sock there covered with a little bit of blood.
Yeah. And all the rest of the snow is just red, scarlet red.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence right there.
I mean that's just one. I think that's just that scene there. It's just movie magic. Oh dear me! Anything what you wasn't so keen on, Susan?
No, I actually like the whole thing.
Ah.
It brings me back to my roots a little bit, and I mean, not that we got into those kind of shenanigans, but yeah, Minnesota Nice is rough.
I mean, I just like the way Macy's character just sort of, as the movie goes along, realizes he's not getting out of this. He everything he touches is turning to crap.
He's never going to get the money, and he's never going
to get the money. There's no way.
What's the problems that he made for himself?
Yeah, the escape route's getting narrower and narrower every time, and that where the sheriff is just talking to him in his office at work. I'll just go and check the cars, and then he does go zooming out in the car.
He's like, oh, he's escaping an interview.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't know what to do really as well. She was lost for words.
Yeah.
She just saw him drive past the window.
Yeah.
Oh dear me. Anything else you'd like to say of Fargo? I know there was I haven't seen it, but I know there was a TV series.
Yeah, Martin Freeman was in the first season of that, and I think it was pretty good. It was a little dark, just like this, but yeah.
I may have to check it out at some point.
Yeah, it's got 4 seasons, I think.
All right.
And it's dark, and it's a bit black comedy just like this. It's got
All right.
a hard edge. Another
Oh,
part that I really love in this is the what was I going to say? There was like the scene where oh wait, I've forgotten. Just we'll loop back around to that. Okay.
okay. I hate that when that happens when you've got it in your head and as soon as you start it goes. Story of my life.
Yeah. Well, I did watch the first season or the first 2 seasons of Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
That I wasn't able to find it any longer. So
Well, I'll have to see if
yeah.
I'll have to see if it's on any streaming sites, so we'll be able to see if it's any good. Shall we go to final say and score then?
Oh yeah.
Oh. Right, over to Susan.
Oh, yeah.
Final say and score.
Well, this was a hot dish, You know, it's got it had a lot of really good parts to it, and it was mixed really well. And yeah, I think I'll give it. Yeah, I think I'll give it 9.5 Paul Bunyan's and Babe the Blue Ox out of 10. They got this huge statue. I gotta tell you, Lee, it's like 45 feet tall. It's bigger than a house. It's like it's the Paul Bunyan statue. It's this ginormous thing. It's in Brainerd or Bemidji or something, and
Is that the Axeman?
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
He apparently when he was walking created the Great Lakes, which are these lakes of that go along the St. Lawrence Seaway all the way from the middle of America all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean. And yeah, you betcha. That's what they say about it anyway.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyable. It's not a rip-roaring action movie or adventure movie. As I said earlier, it's a subtle story, black comedy, so well acted. So on that note, I'm going to give it 10 wood chippers out of 10. It is an enjoyable movie. It was good to sit down and watch this. I don't think I've seen this since a couple of years after it had been made. So it was good to sit down and watch this again. Any final say, Susan, before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, it's it's a good time to discuss this too, because William H. Macy did get away with paying off people to send his 2 daughters to a big university, right? Felicity Huffman is his wife, and she did serve time for it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And that went on. All those trials went on here in Boston, and yeah, you betcha, it was interesting. But I guess he learned how to evade that stuff by playing Shameless and playing Mr. Lundegaard here. And I think that the characters in this are really, really, really quirky people. And I really liked it. And so, yeah, that's my final say.
Thank you, Susan. Right then. So that was our little surreal review of the movie Fargo. I'd like to thank Susan for joining me. You guys out there, please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the movie. And if you are leaving comments, that means you are watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you want to get notified every time we put a new video up, press the notification button and bell button, and you will get a ding every time we put a new video up. If you want to be on our casts or in our group, please message me or message any member of the group, and they'll pass the message on to me. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're all over the place. You just find us at Geeks Assembled. It's Geeks Assembled in most of the names on the groups. So until next time, remember, guys.
You betcha. Be good to yourself, okay? Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for this. It's very good.
I'll leave Susan with the last word. Go on.
Yeah, you guys really, thank you for watching Fargo and knowing that the stuff that goes on in the road is sometimes more dangerous than you even think. So be safe out there, okay? Okay. Yeah, you bet. Goodbye. Nice weather.